What's up, y'all? Coach Naki here on a beautiful Monday afternoon. Finished work a bit early, got on the skater and thought I'd come down for a bit of a cruise on the canal. Bloody beautiful. Weather's not there just yet, it's getting there, but a little bit of humidity, a little bit sticky, but definitely not as bad as a couple of weeks ago. So anyway, it's not a weather report though, not a weather report. So wanted to get on here and tell you about a bit of an incident that happened over the weekend that I was involved in, and I thought it was quite funny because, you know, it came up in the gym today with one of my members and a good friend of mine, and he's an older fella. He's just been to Bali and he sort of got stuck in the same sort of situation that I was in on the weekend, but a little bit different. And anyway, so I was out on the weekend and I was confronted with some racism. And look, anyone who knows me knows that that's water off a duck's back with me. I grew up in Australia, where racism is live and well, but it's on how you interpret what people say as well. So you can take it how you want, and I guess your reaction is just that, you know what I mean? So, but anyway, I was confronted with some stuff on the weekend, and although I didn't take it personally, I just thought I needed to deal with it my own way. So, like, off the cuff comment was made, and I gave the bloke a couple of chances because I was like pretending I was like, oh, I'm not sure what you're talking about, man. Like, what is it you want, or what is it you said? Anyway, long story short, I won't go into too much detail. I made him look like a bit of a fool in front of his friends and the rest of the restaurant, and you know, I did assault him, but not in a violent manner because I wasn't there, and I'm definitely past that in my age, you know what I mean? Fighting and all that shit it's fucking awful, and yeah, don't like to be a part of any of that shit. But I did make him look like an absolute prick in front of his mates and a few other people that were in the restaurant, which was probably deserved. And anyway, moving past that, you know, I walked up later and I said, look, let's have a beer, let's clear the air. I don't want the tension being in here. I made you look like a fool already, so it's all good. And, you know, the funny thing was, he turned around and said, you know what, I was definitely in the wrong and I'm sorry, and, you know, my mouth got the better of me and whatnot. But my point being is that I'm just going off what we see in Dubai these days, and it's a bit fucking disgusting, to be honest. Like, and this comes from everyone, right? So I'm not just gonna pick on a certain nationality here, but, you know, I'm pretty sure everyone listening to this knows what region of the world I'm talking about that brings some bad attitudes to this country. But it's from everyone, man. Like, I know there's Aussies, you know, Middle Eastern dudes, you know, Europeans, but it seems to be this young millennial age where, you know, let's hide behind our words, especially in a place like Dubai. You know, fighting and carrying on and stuff like that is frowned upon over here. It's you know, it's a zero tolerance on it, you know what I mean? Especially when, you know, drinking and all that, you can get into big trouble here. So I feel that these little fuckers over here can say whatever they want, and they know the consequences. They know if there's a tear up that, you know, there won't be any consequence. So, you know, walking around with your gold chains and your fake Rolexes on and that, thinking you're the man, and having no consequence when you do pipe up and say something to somebody innocently, like who's just enjoying their day. I feel like it gets under my skin because, you know, I'm built differently. Like, if you were to try that shit back home, wherever you're from, you would get slapped, or you know, or more. You probably get hurt a lot bad, you know what I mean? It was a sort of respect your elders moment, but you don't have that in Dubai, which is unfortunate. So, you know, I was just bringing that to point. Like, I wanted to go, like, fuck, like, this city is changing. Is it changing for the worse? Possibly. There's still the older heads out here, but yeah, I just think, you know, the attitudes need to change, man. Like, and this comes to my podcast eventually when I do fucking launch the thing. we shot it on Thursday. I laid down the voice and everything came up, recorded perfect, and my dumb ass didn't press record on the camera to get the video with it. So I've got the voice. I think I'm just going to have to launch it as a podcast, vocal podcast, and next one we'll have some video to it. But I did say this in the podcast that you'll get to hear this week, that Dubai's changed, and it's full of young men and women who don't realise the hard, or the respect the hard yakka that you have to do out here and get to where I think a lot of people who've been here, 5-10 years plus, have put in some hard work, been through the trials and tribulations of this fucking joint, and one false or wrong move can ruin it all. And that went through my head on Friday when I had this young bloke cornered. Like, not anything in me wanted to smack him over. I just wanted to prove a point, saying, just careful who you mouth off to, because next time it may not be me. I had a pretty calm head about the situation, but if I didn't in return and I smacked him over, what good's that going to do me or him? I'm probably going to go to jail, lose everything that I've worked for, and over what? A simple or a stupid altercation where I could have probably walked away from it. I to the point, I did walk away from it, but I made him look like a fool, because I needed to prove that point, was that, you don't do that to people. You just, especially not in a racist manner like that. It wasn't called for. Again, saying to him, lucky it was me and nobody else. You know what I mean? So, I just I think I want to talk about that whole point of, has Dubai changed for the worse? Is it becoming a melting ground for the young who don't know what a hard work ethic is, or don't respect what everyone else has worked for? You know what I mean? I think a lot of people, especially, look, let's take it back to the fitness industry. I think a lot of people come into this shaped the way they are, and with these young mindsets, thinking they, you can just walk into an industry and go, yeah, my looks and my body shape is enough. But it's not at the end of the day. And I think that goes across all business profiles or whatever, is that you need to have a personality to make it work out here too. You need to connect with people at a level. You got to be real. And I know that, for me, I was the same when I was younger back here. I was this chameleon. Anyone, I thought that, I would transform myself because I thought people would like that version of me. So I try to change and mold myself. And for me, it was my downfall. It actually broke me to the point where, the volcano popped and exploded, and it sent me fucking crazy. I went backwards. So, my advice to the younger crew out here who are just starting out or wanting to make Dubai a life is, be genuine, be yourself. Let people like you for who you are, and grow organically, and you'll attract. I read this quote everywhere: put out the energy for the people you want to attract. And I swear I believe that now. At the age of 35, I absolutely believe that. When you can just be true to yourself, raw, you attract the people you want. And I just take that from my work. I used to train people that I hated training, because I did it for the money and I was chasing the money. My work ethic versus theirs didn't really ever match up, and I hated training them. I felt like saying, well, why the fuck are you here? Why are you paying me? But now, all these years later, I attract and train people who I love training, because they want to be there. They want to work hard. They get when I get angry or get upset at them not working hard. I'm not doing it because I like the sound of my own voice as much as a lot of people think I do. I do it because I give a fuck, and in return, they know that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I thought it was a cool little it made me think twice on the weekend. I got home and I got myself home early, and I thought, fuck, 5 years ago that whole situation would have been a lot different, you know what I mean? And my aggression, my ego would have got the better of me, and I probably would have ended up in a bad predicament, or worse, sent out of Dubai for a stupid, something that could have been diffused very easily. So yeah, like, I don't know, like, if you're watching this video and you want to leave a comment, what do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you think Dubai is changing? Do you think that attitudes are getting better or getting worse out here? I don't know. It's a hard one, because, like, obviously now, all my circle of friends, we're all older, and we keep to ourselves and stuff, and you go out with that same older group, but you do see on the horizon, man, like, that there are a lot of I'll be straight up, bad attitudes out in this city. And if I was the type of person to bite every time something was said or I didn't like something, I'd be in a fucking scrap every hour out here, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, we touched on it again, going back to the podcast on Thursday. Is this a city of people wanting to see other people fail as well? That part I don't get. I don't like. That's one thing that sort of annoys me a lot, is that people don't want to help other people. People are always, or it seems like it, that they always want to say, I told you so, it wouldn't work. Or, yeah, I told you he wouldn't, he or she wouldn't make it. They failed. Everybody just seems to be waiting for the next person to fail so they can say, I told you so. But instead of trying to help or grow these people, they're just putting the knives in the back. And that comes from my own experiences, but also seeing what I see on a daily basis too, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I think that's got to change. And as diverse as this city is, I think everybody should be able to help everyone. Doesn't matter where you're from. And that's the biggest thing, like, if you want to be an expat city, people have got to start recognizing each other for who they are, a human, and fucking helping each other, man. Back each other as people. And there are frauds out here. There are people who, but that's everywhere, and they filter themselves out. That's natural selection in any city, you know what I mean? These people don't last long. But for the people who are here and who are still putting in the hard yards and want to make something of themselves, definitely back them, and give them a hand, because that's the only way that we move forward as a as a people. So anyway, thought I'd just lay this one down and put it out there. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. I thought it'd be a nice little topic, and we'll talk about this one a little bit more on this week's podcast when we lay it down. I know everyone's waiting for the fucking thing. I will get it out. I'm still learning how to convert into MP3, this, that, and the other. I only get a little bit of time per day to do it, so bear with me, guys. I know I've hyped the fucking thing up, but it's coming, I promise. And yeah, hope you like this video, and yeah, share your comments underneath. Let me know what your thoughts are, and peace.